So is this, of course. And this is about 15 inches long. So this is 30 plus 12, something like 42. It adds up fast. You don't realize how much extrusion you really need until you start putting these together. We're talking about almost 4 feet of extrusion. So I made sure that as I was going with the extruder and pulling out the pieces, that I had some good long lengths that I could then cut and work with so I wouldn't run short. I try to put the trim on in sort of a simple fashion, just 4 pieces cut. I'm not trying to do exact fitting here. I happen to like the look of trim pieces laid on. It gives it a really beautiful sort of a spontaneous effect that takes glaze well. If, though, you want to do it a little bit more meticulously where you cut and fit, you can get some excellent results that way. You just have to work with your extrusions, that is your trim pieces, and measure them out carefully. I've learned from experience and trying it both ways that I like to lay the end pieces on first and then add the long pieces. This is still pretty fresh. I'm going to locally wet it. And it's not so much for the sake of adhesion as it is to help the trim pieces, the notch, I'll show you in a second, the notch in the trim pieces slide down onto that end easier. So it's a lubricant more than anything else at this juncture. And I'm doing exactly the same thing with this one. Now I'm ready to apply a piece of the trim. I use my cutter. This is the piece that I made, and it has a really nice groove down the middle that's just about the size, exactly what I need here. I'm going to pinch it so it can be a little bit extra. So I want to lay this on, and I like the look of this way. You notice that I didn't have to do much of anything to that channel. If your extrusion, your trim extrusion is set out for a while and it's firmed up, feel free to lay in a little bit of slip in that trough underneath the trim piece. And now that I've laid it on there, I'm just pinching this really carefully to help them bind. As soft as that is, it immediately attached. I'll do this with the other one too quickly. I want to get the 2 end pieces in place quick. Okay, it's exactly the same thing as before, but what's going to happen is when I lay the extrusion on, it's going to come up and rest on top of this, so it's going to climb up, and I'm going to force that in so that I know that I get a good seal all along. And what I like to do is, I know some of the slip is going to run down inside the tray. It doesn't matter a bit. Most importantly, I want to make sure I have it evenly across the complete edge. Start at the middle, seat it just like that. You can see I have a ways to go, but I'm going to work from the center outward. Somewhat balanced. I'll catch this, push it into place there. I like that one. Catch this, push it into place here. And I want about the same amount of overhang as here and here, so I can give it the same kind of finished look. Once again, that fell right into place. It looks level all the way across. You have to be careful too is that this die, as you've seen, it has beads across the top. If I push too hard, I'm going to distort the beaded effect. So I need to push but not damage the shape I'm looking for. That's what, when the piece is fired and it's glazed, this is where the glaze is going to really show off. It's going to look really pretty. Okay, looks like I have a good seal. I have all 4 of my pieces in place, and I'm liking the results I'm getting. And I have to do some strategic pinching, and I don't want to have any light showing through my tray. I want it to be a complete tray edge to edge. That looks nice. At this point, you can get a better perspective if I hold it up. It has what I want here. It has some opportunity to finish here. But technically speaking, what you want to make sure you do is you're going to work on the corners to make them look really nice. But technically speaking, you want to make sure that this trim all the way around is grasping that tray edge. One of the most important things to do is through controlled drying to make sure that your tray dries as flat as you possibly can. Now, part of a good tray is in the choice of clay. Some clays tend to be better suited for this kind of work, that is large, flat areas. Some clays are such that they're better suited for this kind of firing. They're less inclined to warp. This clay is a medium grog stoneware. It happens to be a clay that I know is particularly good in that regard. It served me well before. You like to make sure that just by your own pressure with your hand that you have the tray well placed. And then, at the advice of a friend who's been doing the same sort of thing for years, I came up with these ballasts. And what it's simply made of is, this is a Ziploc sandwich bag into which I poured some playground sand till it was almost full, but I could still zip it shut and clutch it like this. And then I wrapped it in cheesecloth, and I used a zip tie or a tie wrap to keep it closed. And they simply lay at the ends and at the middle. If you feel like you need more, make more. They're really easy to make. Once you have play sand, you can make as many as you need for something like that. Now, this I'm going to wrap it in plastic with those in place, and I'll check on it tomorrow. If it looks like it needs more, I can add more, but for the time being, I think this is going to do a good job of getting this tray off to a good start in terms of drying flat. So give that a try.